After the event of Noe fighting all the SSS members, everything seems to have come back to normal. Having nothing else to do, everyone proceeds to do their own things. Noe was also recruited as the new member of SSS. Yuri later calls Noe and Otanashi for a personal discussion. Yuri asks Noe to help Otanashi regain his memories by hypnotism. With the assuring remarks of Noe and Yuri, the hypnotism session begins. Otanashi visits his younger sister Hatsune at the hospital. She asks him what it's like to be in school. Otanashi says that he is not smart, he doesn't attend there much and considers studying as boring. Hatsune hopes to be able to study and make friends and couldn't wait to start school. Before leaving, Otanashi gives Hatsune a new manga. Otanashi worked as a construction worker, trying to get enough money to live and eat. He only cared for his sister. She used to buy a new manga on every visit. His only purpose seemed to be to make his sister happy. With Christmas coming closer, he wonders if he'd be able to take Hatsune out on a walk on Christmas night. Otanashi promised her that, even if her doctor refused, he would take her there. Unfortunately, Hatsune's condition was bad, and she was not permitted to go outside. However, Otanashi took Hatsune out of the hospital, carrying her on his back. Hatsune, in a low tone, thanked his brother one last time. After that, Otanashi kept on walking and speaking, without realizing that she was no more. Otanashi thought he didn't have any other reason to live except for his sister who was gone. One day Otanashi saw a little girl thanking a doctor. From there he began to struggle for a new reason for life to become a doctor and help others. Otanashi started studying and working hard with all his efforts to fulfill his dream when while traveling on a train he got in an accident and died. Otanashi recovers his memories and asks Noe and Yuri to leave him alone for a moment. With a tear moving down his cheek, he regrets having been unable to do anything in his life. The following day, the SSS members are short on meal tickets. Yuri decides that, instead of Operation Tornado, it is time for Operation Monster Stream. They would simply go fishing on the riverbank. On their way to the river, they walk past the garden, where Otanashi sees Kanade. He invites her to go fishing with them. Otanashi grabs her hand and takes her with him. They meet up with Seitu, a member of the guild who is proficient at fishing. With his help, everyone gets enough fishing gear to start. All of a sudden, Kanade catches something really big. Seitu immediately shouts that it is the monster stream. Otanashi helps Kanade to reel it in. The rest of the SSS and Seitu decide to help Kanade with the tugging. Kanade then uses her strength to launch herself and the entire SSS in the air. This causes a monster fish to come to the surface. Kanade uses her ability, harmonics, to rapidly cut down the monster into pieces by making a clone of herself. Otanashi suggests sharing the meat with the NPC students for charity work. While cooking, Otanashi asks if he could call Kanade by her name, as they had now become friends. After that, he asks her to promise him that she would not fight any more, and that she would remain with them. All of a sudden, Noda notices that Yuri was missing from all the charity work. Soon, they see her with bloody cuts and bruises. She tells them that Angel was the one who attacked her. Otanashi was shocked as he had been with Kanade the entire time. All of a sudden, a girl emerges who looks exactly like Kanade, but with blood-red eyes. As she approaches to attack, Yuri tries to defend everyone. Otanashi does not believe their attacker is Kanade. Meanwhile, Yuri gets several injuries without landing a single hit. Otanashi orders the SSS members to fire the Kanade look-alike. In response to the firing, the look-alike swifts towards the SSS, while real Kanade tries to defend them and gets stabbed. The next day, Otanashi and the others stay at the hospital for Kanade's recovery. Everyone is confused as to why two Kanades appeared yesterday. Yuri thinks that it was due to harmonics, a skill that Kanade had to make clones, and the clones went rogue against Kanade. Yuri decides to study these clones on Kanade's computer and returns to Kanade's room and opens a program called Angel Player. She does not find any new information about how harmonics work. There she looks at the software manual and learns about the absorb command, which makes the clones automatically merge into Kanade after 10 seconds. Yuri activates the command and returns to check on Kanade with other members, where they find Kanade missing. Upon researching, they find that Kanade is being held in the old guild they destroyed and decide to find her. While they are going through the guild, they are encountered by several Kanade's clones at different points of the guild, which proves that the clones were able to use harmonic as well. Otanashi realized that the first clone was made before the absorb command. That's why it's still active and making more clones. Every SSS member dies while grappling the clones to make way for others until and only Otanashi finds the real Kanade and asks her to use harmonics one more time to activate the absorb command. This leads to Kanade absorbing all the cruel clones of herself, making her experience a lot of pain. Otanashi and Yuri watch over Kanade at the infirmary. After a while, Yuri leaves and discusses Kanade with other members that they have no idea what kind of Kanade will awake after this incident, and sends them to keep a check on her computer for any abnormality. Meanwhile, Otanashi sleeps at the infirmary, having a dream. Day 1. Otanashi finds himself on a train where people are covered in blood while some are still active. He sees an injured person and aids him. Otanashi then carries him out of the train where a big pile of rubble is blocking the tunnel. Otanashi tries to use his phone, but the signal is too weak to call anyone. Soon he and the injured man found more and more survivors, some lucky to have only cuts and bruises, while some required first aid. After helping them out, Otanashi heads out to check on the other side of the tunnel, where he finds more rubble, and what's worse is that he also was injured badly. Day 2. The people are very low on supplies, that's why Otanashi tries to manage in equal measures. Suddenly, a man tries to run with the water supplies and eventually gets caught, leaving some of the water wasted. Otanashi settles the injured by telling them that what was wasted will be his share. Day 3. One of the survivors passes away as Otanashi tries to save him by giving CPR, but it has no effect. Day 7. Otanashi, in pain, remembers about his sister, mentioning that she could have lived if she had a donor. At that time, he pulls a card which had the consent of the owner of the card to donate his organs when he dies. Otanashi signs that card and dies peacefully as everyone else is saved. Otanashi wakes up having Kanade's hand on his head and is relieved to see her awake. Otanashi tells her about his dream, and he realizes he doesn't have any regrets about life as he saved someone through his body. Would that mean he would disappear? Kanade tells her that he can stay if he wants to make everyone happy. Otanashi and Kanade decide to be friends and help the other SSS members to move on from the afterlife. Meanwhile, the faculty announces a retake of exams for Kanade and makes her the student council president again. Everything goes back to as it was before. Otanashi and Kanade meet up to talk about their plan. They decide to make Yu disappear first. Otanashi explains to Kanade his plan, which involves her criticizing Yui's playing and taking her guitar. Otanashi will stop her, which will leave Yu with Otanashi. But when Kanade came back, Yu didn't follow her as needed. So Otanashi decides to sneak up on her. Where the band is arguing with Yu to stop playing guitar, and in anger Yu rushes out to follow Kanade to get back her guitar. There Kanade bumps into Otanashi, and he catches the guitar and gives it to Yu. Otanashi offers her a drink and asks her about her past. Yu tells him that she was hit by a car and got paralyzed all her life. Her mother took care of her. Soon, Otanashi asks about the things that she wanted to do. She mentions a home run on baseball and playing soccer and professional wrestling. Otanashi helps her out in wrestling first. Yu wanted to do a German suplex. Otanashi teaches her German suplex, and within a few hours, she was able to do a German suplex on Otanashi. After that, Otanashi tells her to start playing soccer. He manages to get 5 members of SSS and lures them into playing against Yu. Yu storms through the players with Otanashi's help and dirty tricks. Finally, she scores a goal against Hinata, who is the goalkeeper. Yu and Otanashi then move on to baseball. Otanashi tried to make her hit a home run, but even with 3 days of practice, she wasn't able to do it. Otanashi notices her fingers wrapped up in bandages. Yu tells him that she is happy about how she did on the field and doesn't want to hit a home run. Soon, she tells Otanashi about her last wish, which was to get married. Then suddenly Hinata appears and says that he would have married her even after she is paralyzed. He would have taken care of her with her mom. Yu smiles with happiness and disappears. Later, Noda and Uyama are going down the hallway when they encounter a shadow-like being and kill it without knowing what it was. Hinata and Naoi approach Otanashi and tell him that they want to help him in his plans for everyone to move on. At that time, a shadowy creature tries to possess Naoi, but Otanashi and Hinata fight back and get rid of it. Yuri ordered everyone to be in groups for their own sake and personally talks with Kanade in the council room, where Otanashi, Hinata, and Naoi also appear. She asks for permission to investigate Kanade's computer. By investigating, she found that Kanade only made wings as decorations for herself. Then gunfire is heard from the school grounds, and soon the SSS finds itself fighting the army of shadows. After a long fight, they rest for a while and Fujimaki tells them Takamatsu has been taken by the shadows. The SSS goes to check and finds his glasses. The next day, they hear the news of Takamatsu being found. When they met him, he was not the same as before and had no memories. Then Yuri tells them that he is now an NPC. That night, Yuri also arranges a meeting with all SSS and asks Otonashi to talk about his plan. Otonashi, being caught by Yuri, explains his point of view. Some disagree, but Yuri tells them to think about it. After they leave, Yuri talks to Otonashi, Hinata, Naoi, and Kanade, where she tells Kanade to fight the shadows while she is away. Yuri then tells everyone that she needs to check up on something which is very important. Even after Hinata and Otonashi stop her, she leaves. The rest of the SSS think about their personal life and their dreams and think about moving on. Meanwhile, Yuri stays alone in the headquarters. She thinks about the shadows as she thinks they are also programmable and someone might be making them. For that reason, she goes to the library because the library has the most computers. There she finds an old man setting up a new computer for students as someone was stealing them. Yuri then looks for clues and finds a passage under the tiles, which leads to the old guild again. On the other hand, Kanade is fighting the shadows as Otonashi, Hinata, and Naoi plan to gather SSS members who are approached by the Girls' Dead Monster band members and fans. They tell Otonashi that they want to move on and they have been happy with what they achieved in the afterlife, while saying that they vanish in thin air. Suddenly, they are attacked by shadows. The three run out and see that the number of shadows increased greatly due to the presence of NPCs. After a while, the SSF members start to approach and fight alongside Otonashi. Meanwhile, Yuri is also ambushed by the shadows at the guild. Yuri then finds herself with little ammo. She then meets Cha sitting there, who gives a rifle to Yuri before finally passing on. After some time at the old guild, Yuri is attacked by more shadows and falls in control. While in NPC state, Yuri in a confused manner is approached by her teacher, where she gives a speech about the life she wanted, not the one she is living in now soon. She wakes up in front of Otonashi and the others. Yuri felt grateful for their effort to save her. They rush to level 20 where they see a lot of shadows in a defensive formation, where Kanade steps in and clears the way for them. Yuri then heads to a room that was named the second computer. There she finds herself surrounded by monitors displaying Angel players. Soon an NPC talks to her and tells her that with Angel player everything in this world can be changed, but he is not the one who developed it. He tells Yuri that the world they are in should not have love in it as it is just a transit world. However, the programmer felt love and made himself into an NPC to avoid it. Later on, he programmed this world to change when the existence of love happens. He tells Yuri that even she can control this world, but Yuri refuses and destroys all the computers in the room. She finds herself laying on the ground thinking about her siblings who reassure her to stop fighting and they are proud. She cries. Yuri then wakes up at the school infirmary where Kanade, Otonashi, Naoi, and Hinata are waiting. The four are relieved to see her and ask in curiosity if she has overcome her troubles. She agrees that she has moved on from her regrets. Otonashi then tells her that they have prepared something for her. Yuri changes into clothes and goes to the gymnasium with them and asks about other members as they are nowhere to be seen. Otonashi tells her that they have already moved on. Upon reaching the gymnasium, Yuri sees a graduation ceremony stage decoration, where Otonashi begins with the ceremony and asks them to sing the SSS anthem written by Kanade. With the anthem finished, Hinata, as the principal, awards them with diplomas and receives his from Otonashi. After that, Otonashi gives a speech dedicated to SSS about the experience he had with them, then asks them to stand and sing Algebra Tutoshi. After that, it was time to say goodbye. Noe thanks Otonashi for bringing peace to his heart and while crying leaves first. Yuri then says her sorry to Kanade for not being able to spend more time with her as friends, hugs her and leaves while waving and thanking Otonashi and Hinata. Hinata then proceeds to thank Otonashi in return. Otonashi asks Hinata to say hi to you, and while giving a high five he is gone. Otonashi is left with Kanade when he requests Kanade to go outside with him. Otonashi then requests her to stay with him to help others that will come here like SSS. Otonashi also confesses his feelings and says I love you to Kanade. Kanade tells him that she would disappear as she tells him her feelings as Kanade reveals that Otonashi's heart was donated to her, and that's why she lived for some time. And because she died without thanking the one who saved her life, she wandered into the afterlife. Kanade asks Otonashi to tell her again the same words he told her. He hesitates, grabs Kinnaid and repeatedly tells her, "I love you," and asks her to be with him forever. Kinnaid thanks him for everything, and in a split second, she vanishes. While crying, he shouts out Kinnaid's name before passing on soon after. After that, the living world is shown where a girl with short silver hair is humming the melody of Iwasawa's last song, My Song. Soon, a boy with short red hair passes by and stops when he hears the tune. And when the girl is about to leave, the red-haired boy runs to reach her. The end. Thanks for watching. Hope you like this series and stay tuned for more awesome content.